What's up, people? Joe Winko here, your favorite Hawaiian guy, and here's my next episode of Joe Winko Talk. So, I'm really happy to announce that today, December 5th, is actually my birthday. I am a proud Sagittarius, as you all know. Yeah, Sagittariuses are the best. I'm finally 22 years old today. Yeah, time flies so fast. You know, I honestly still feel like I'm 15 or 16 years old, but I'm not at all. I'm way past that right now. It's weird to think that, but yeah, I am. So, I am a little sad because this birthday is actually the first year that I don't get a cake or any Krispy Kreme donuts at all, because I used to live with my adoptive parents a while ago, and my adoptive parents, they did used to get me a cake for my birthday, and a couple years they would get me Krispy Kreme donuts, but I don't live with them anymore because they didn't want me to live with them, and also I didn't want to live with them either, but more because they didn't want me to live with them because we weren't getting along with each other, but I think I already explained that many times. But right now, I'm with my living with my adoptive parents' relatives right now, and to be completely honest with you guys, I rarely even see them that often. It's almost like I live here by myself in a huge house with a bunch of rooms and a bunch of hallways that I can't get into. So it's strange, really. But the thing is, this is going to be really gloomy. The thing is, I better get used to not being able to have cake or not being able to have Krispy Kreme donuts on my birthday, because one day, hopefully far off into the future, I will not be alive anymore, and I'll be a ghost, and I will not be able to experience eating cake or Krispy Kreme donuts. So, might as well get used to it now.
I know this is hard for you, Whiskers, but try and stay with me. A birthday, specifically my birthday, is the annual celebration of my birth.
Oh, so that's the reason you're sad. Another whole year older, and 1 year closer to the big dirt nap.
Okay, that whole getting older thing wasn't bothering me until just now.
Yeah, that's that, but I guess I can basically say that about anything, really. So, enough about my death. You guys hear me talk about that enough, so enough about that. This is not going to be a gloomy episode of Joe Winko Talk at all, but it is going to definitely be a personal one nonetheless. As you all should know, I'm looking for a friend or lover or partner or whatever you want to call it, who loves to drive and who loves to go on long road trips, because I really love adventure. I always get stir crazy when I'm in the same place for too long, so that's the reason why I like to go out and be taken on long drives and be taken on long road trips. So that's what I'm looking for, a friend who likes to drive and go on long road trips, because there's all kinds of certain places that I've honestly been wanting to go. I'm open to road tripping anywhere, but there's all kinds of certain places that I've really been wanting to go. All of them are within the USA, but I don't want to fly there at all, and I only want to be driven there because I love road trips. And as I said, I don't drive myself. I have a driver's license and everything, but I always prefer to be the passenger and the navigator instead, always, because I don't really like driving myself, really, so I'm trying to find someone who's okay with that also. And it's always fun going to new places and passing different towns and seeing new areas and seeing the scenery of the USA and seeing how it changes. Like, you go from grasslands to forests to grasslands to deserts, and it's really interesting. And it's always better to drive and cross the state lines and seeing what's between you and what's between the destination. Because for those of you who don't know, you do not need a passport to travel through the states in the USA. And that's for the people who watch my video who live outside the USA, because obviously people living in the USA already know that. So I always prefer that. But one thing I really hate is flying on airplanes. I hate flying on airplanes. I never liked that at all. And in this episode of Joe Winko Talk, I'm going to explain why I don't like flying on airplanes at all. So, it took me long enough to get to that point, ironically. But back in 2005, when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I was on a flight that my adoptive mother's sister took me on. She took me on a trip to Disney World, and we flew a plane there, and the air pressure, what happened was the flight was really miserable, and I heard that this is caused by air pressure or something, but my ears started to hurt. My ears started to feel horrible, and like, I don't know where they get the word popping from, but that's what they always describe it as. My ears started to pop and they felt really uncomfortable, like this really uncomfortable feeling in my ears. It hurt horribly. And you know, it fucked up my ears for 2 whole days throughout the whole entire trip. It felt so horrible on that plane that I started crying. And you know, it was physically painful. That's the thing. Also, flying on an airplane is not fun at all. You miss out on everything in between the destination and you, because that's the funnest part of an adventure, and that's the funnest part of a road trip. Not saying, oh, I want to go there, and then just being taken there, sitting in a small, built, confined space, and then just being taken there in like a couple of hours. No. I like sitting in the passenger seat of the car and seeing the scenery go by and seeing everything that's between me and there. That's the funnest part of a road trip, really. And you know, a lot of people don't understand that. But people who don't understand that aren't really worth my time anyway. That's what I always say to myself. It's kind of rude, but it is true. And another fun thing is, being on an airplane is not fun at all. It's crammed. There's people all over the place. I mean, that's the same thing with the Greyhound bus, but I'd much rather ride a Greyhound bus than an airplane, really. It's crammed, there's people all over the place, your ears are hurting like hell, and it's boring as hell too. And plus, airplanes have really strict policies on luggage and bagging. Like, you can't bring that much stuff with you. Like, if you're going on a road trip, you can bring a cooler, fill it up with water bottles and sodas. You can pack as much stuff as you want to, as much stuff that can fit in the car as you want to. But when you're going on an airplane, they have like certain guidelines. They restrict the amount of luggage you can bring, and they charge you for the luggage too, and it's really annoying. I absolutely hate flying on airplanes. And what if you're going someplace and getting a bunch of souvenirs and have to bring those back? That's not fun at all. Then you have to pay to pack them and everything. That sucks. Also, the airport security is really strict and everything. And yes, they should definitely be strict because they need to keep the people safe with all the crazy stuff that happens on airplanes and everything. But still, I don't want to go on airplanes, and I don't want to go through that at all, and I don't like going through security. I don't like them saying, oh, you can only bring this amount of stuff, and I don't like sitting in a crammed place, in a crammed, confined little building or something, or whatever you want to call it, a contraption, or whatever the fuck you want to say it is, and like just teleporting there and not even being able to pass stuff and have fun and see the route and enjoy the trip at all. It's not fun being on a plane at all. Another thing is, they also have this ridiculous policy of overbooking flights. Like, what they do is, like, they'll have a seat on a plane and like 3 people will book the tickets, and then they overbook it. Like, they'll book 100 people for a flight, but only 50 people can fit on, like that. And I think that's absolutely stupid. And then you get there ready to fly and they say, oh, your plane is full, but we can put you on the next flight. That's so damn stupid, and you have to wait there for hours and everything, and the layovers and shit like that. It's so much better to just be taken on a road trip instead. And you know, another thing is, plane tickets, you have to book them in advance. And you know, if something comes up and like you have to cancel the trip or something, you cannot get your money back. You cannot get refunds for plane tickets at all. You probably can, but it's extremely difficult to. So that's another reason why I don't like being on airplanes, and why I don't want to fly to anywhere. And let me show you a clip that I'm pretty sure, I'm definitely sure you all heard of this. This man who got beat up, he was a doctor and he had to fly home. He didn't want to get off the plane because he needed to get home right away. And the airport security literally beat the crap out of him and dragged him on the plane. I have the clip right here. Gonna show it to you guys right now. Let me just start it real quick. Okay. 3, 2, 1, now.
Can't the pilots drive to Lola? Can't they run a car for the pilots and have it drive?
Oh gosh.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Alright, if someone's acting like that, gosh, just let them stay on the plane. You don't need to drag them off.
What are you doing?
Gosh, look at that.
Oh my god! Look at what you did to him! Oh my god! Oh my
Oh
god!
gosh, that is not good.
This is horrible! Oh my
Yeah, the police grabbed the guy.
goodness!
He's an older doctor. He was got off the plane.
That is absolutely sick.
I have to go home. 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 Just kill me. Just kill me. Kill me. Just kill me.
Wow.
Kill me. Just kill me. Just kill me. Just kill me.
Okay, that's someone who kind of had a mental breakdown. I mean, well, I don't really blame him if it was really that important for him to get home. Geesh. But gosh. But either way, that's absolutely sick, and that disgusts me. I do not want to fly on fucking airplanes if they're putting 3 people through that. What the hell is up with that? And you know, another thing is, I've been on dating sites, and I talk to men online, and I tell them that I want someone who's adventurous and who likes to travel and go on road trips, but who can't stand being on airplanes. And then they tell me, well, they're obviously lying and bluffing when they say this. I'm smart enough to know that. Just because I have autism doesn't mean I fall for stupid shit. But they tell me, oh, I'll take you to the places you want to go. I'll fly you there. We'll fly to Oklahoma. We'll fly to Ohio. We'll fly to Arkansas. That's not how I want to get there. I want to be taken there on a road trip. I make that as clear as ice, but yet they keep saying that, and it just pisses me off so much. And I tell them, no, I don't want to fly there. I want to be driven there. And then, you know, then they call me crazy and they call me judgmental. And you know, I just tell them to fuck off because they obviously don't understand how fun road trips are. And they don't understand the fun behind road trips either, passing through everything. And you know, they honestly aren't worth my time. But it still annoys me that they come talk to me anyway, even though they're not what I'm looking for, and even though they don't like going on road trips, even though I make it clear that that's what I'm looking for in a guy, really, one who likes to drive and travel and go on road trips. It gets me angry. And I think they're assholes, and I hope one day they get beat up on a plane and then they see how right I am. I know that's kind of whack, but you know, gotta throw that somewhere. And you know, there's another thing. It gets worse. It's scary being on a plane, because I'm terrified of heights. I can't stand being very far up in the air. And with me being 6'3" tall, I have to deal with heights every day, with walking up and standing everything, and being so high up off the ground and everything. I'm also really clumsy too, and that makes it even scarier. But you know, it terrifies me being thousands of feet up in the air. I do not enjoy that, and I don't know how people enjoy that. And there's so many scary stories of planes crashing, and they really freak me out too. I understand that it's very unlikely for planes to crash, but they can and they do crash, even to this day, and it's terrifying. There was one plane that went missing and they never ended up finding it. I've heard of that also. And one of the most chilling cases, in my opinion, that I read of plane crashes and plane accidents was the case of Aloha Airlines Flight 243. I just discovered that recently. And you know, it's even scarier that it was a Hawaiian flight. This happened back in 1988. What happened was the plane was flying up in the air. It didn't really crash, but it still definitely wasn't good what happened. What happened was the plane was like kind of rotted out and old and wasn't inspected right. And the roof tore off. The roof of the plane tore off while they were flying. And these people were trapped in the seats with this wind, like 300-mile-per-hour winds, probably even much faster than that for all I know, like flying through their faces and everything. And they're high up in the air, could barely breathe and everything. And they eventually landed the plane safely, but one person died. Her name was C.B. Lansing. She was a flight attendant on the plane. What happened was, she was in the front of the plane, like near not like where the pilots were, but near the front of the plane with all the seats. And what happened was when the roof tore off, she got sucked out of the plane, and they never found her body at all. It flew into the Pacific Ocean, and they never discovered her body, and they never found her body. I recently discovered that story, and that always freaked me out. Because could you imagine standing on a plane and all of a sudden the roof tears off and you fly right out of it? It's absolutely scary. And it's really sad, too. I felt really sorry for her. And could you imagine what those people went through? It must have been terrifying, because it was all because the plane wore out because it wasn't maintenanced or checked right. And you know, I know a lot of people are going to tell me, oh, well, Joe, it's just as dangerous driving in a car. You could get into a car accident. You know what? Don't try to... Yeah, that is true, and yeah, I understand that, but don't try to irrationalize what I say, because it's just going to make me mad, and I'm not going to listen to it. That's why therapy never worked for me at all. But who the fuck needs therapy? A bunch of stupid bitches sitting on their ass trying to teach you how to solve your problems, even though they don't know jack shit. Really? Gosh. But it's stupid. Like, I know you can die in a car crash, but you know, I don't care, because dying in a plane crash is much scarier than dying in a car crash, and it's much easier to survive a car crash, too. Gosh. And you know, a car crash, that all depends on how the person's driving and what the situation is. It's not like your life is literally in someone's hands over 1,000 feet up in the air. But another thing is, on a more personal level, now, I never spoke about this before in any of my episodes of Joe Winko Talk, but this is what my uncle or Mario told me. My biological grandparents and my uncle or Mario and my biological mother, their parents, and my biological grandparents, who were their parents, my biological uncle and my biological mother, they died in a plane crash back in 1992. And my uncle or the only reason why I knew that is because my uncle or Mario told me that when I went to live with them in the Dominican Republic. And he told me that after that happened, my biological mother, she was already having problems, but after they died in the plane crash, she kind of really lost it and spiraled out of control, and it went downhill for her. And he told me that when he came to the airport to pick me up, because my adoptive parents sent him a message on Ancestry.com that they were going to be flying me to the Dominican Republic, he said that when he first got to the airport, and that when he saw that I wasn't there yet, even though I did get there eventually, he said that he thought I was dead, and he thought that I died in a plane crash. And he wasn't just like joking at me and laughing at me when he told me that. He sounded really concerned, because that was really serious, and I could see that really hurt him, that his parents died in the plane crash, and that my grandparents, who were his parents, died in the plane crash. And I don't know how he got to the Dominican Republic, but he never liked flying on airplanes either. And he actually liked to drive around and go on road trips and take me on long drives. That was always a lot of fun. I liked that. But it was really sad learning that, and I felt really bad for him, and I felt really bad for them that they died in the plane crash. I barely even know anything about my biological grandparents, except for that. I always say that I don't feel bad for my biological mother or for my biological father. They're both dead, that I don't miss them at all, and that I'm glad they're dead. But for my biological grandparents, I do feel bad for them, really, because when you're up in a plane, you don't have control. Like, someone else has control over your life. Just like the Alaska Airlines, what happened was I don't remember what it's called, like the tail thing, like snapped down and caused the plane to crash, but they were having problems with it before, and they could have just flew back into the airport, but the pilots believed that they could fly the plane, but they really couldn't. I think that was Alaska Flight 262 or 266. I don't remember what the flight name was, but I remember seeing that a long time ago, and that was really disturbing and really sad too. There's one last thing that I want to mention, and I wasn't personally affected by this tragedy, or knew anyone who was affected, but this was the most deadliest airplane catastrophe in history, which had the most victims. So, this happened on the Canary Islands. It was the Tenerife, I forgot how to pronounce the name, the Tenerife airport disaster. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Forgive me if I forget. This happened on the Canary Islands back in the 1970s. And the Canary Islands, another place that has a creepy, gloomy backstory to it, but I'm not going to explain that in this video. I'm going to save that for later. What happened was these huge airplanes were on the landing strip at the airport, and they were getting ready to take off. Both of them were. But what happened was it was a really foggy day and the visibility was down. One plane was here, the other plane was here. This plane was coming in, getting ready to take off. This plane was making a turn. Turns out they collided and crashed into each other. And 583 people died from that. And you know, it wasn't actually caught on video at all. The actual crash wasn't. But they did have like a reenactment, or I don't know what you can call it, a reenactment or whatever. But let me show it to you right now, the video reenactment. This was the deadliest airplane incident in history. And I have it right here. Just 1 second. Okay.
Blinded by thick fog, two fully loaded 747s race toward disaster.
Get off!
In 1977, the worst accident in aviation history killed nearly 600 people.
So, that's what happened. The deadliest airplane incident in history killed 583 people, and it was all because of a mistake. Two planes crashing into each other on the runway. A very, very, very careless mistake of two airplanes crashing on the runway. How the fuck could that happen? I mean, how could you crash two gigantic planes full of people into each other like that? That's a serious damn goof up. And you know, it's usually not until, like, catastrophes and disasters and stuff like that happens when they, like, finally start to add, like, new safety regulations to make sure it never adds again. I mean, to make sure that never happens again. But, you know, God knows what other accident may happen with airplanes. That's not good. That's really fucked up, and that's really bad. So, that's obviously, that's all the reasons why. And it's obviously, that obviously is not the only reason why. It's a combination of all those reasons together. That's why I don't like flying on airplanes. And I know some of you guys might say, oh, Joe, you need therapy. You need to need therapy and counseling so you're not afraid to fly on airplanes and so you like flying on airplanes. No, I fucking don't. What I need is a friend who likes to drive and who likes to explore and who likes to go on road trips and who hates airplanes like me, so we can explore all the places that I wanted to road trip to and even the places he wanted to road trip to, because I'm really open to road tripping anywhere, honestly. I really prefer to stay in the continental US states, but, well, I'm okay with going to Canada too, now that I think of it, because I used to live there for a couple months. But you know, that's what I need to find, honestly. And if I don't find that at all, then I don't find it at all, and oh well. But I'm going to keep searching for it while I'm still here on Earth. A friend who likes to drive and go on road trips. Like the one guy who took me, from Craigslist, who took me on a road trip to Arkansas last summer. I need to do an episode of Joe Winko talk about that. But, me and him lost touch because he was actually straight. And also, he got a girlfriend and everything, and they got married and everything. That's what I heard from him last time, so he never has time to talk at all, obviously. And plus, he's really far away right now anyway. He never really heads in this direction, because I moved down south and everything. But, oh well, just need to find a new friend to take me on road trips. At least I found one for that, and I plan on doing an episode of Joe Winko talk about that. I've honestly never been interested in going outside the country. I really just wanted to travel through the states of the continental USA, because I only know how to speak English anyway, so what's the point of going outside the country? I don't want to go to a place where no one understands what I says. But I hate airplanes. I hate flying on airplanes, and I don't want to fly on them. And you know, hopefully now, from watching this episode of Joe Winko Talk, hopefully you all understand now. So, yeah, that's basically it for this episode of Joe Winko Talk. I have no idea what I'm going to do for my birthday now, but I can tell you this, I'm not going to fly on any airplanes. But, yeah, I don't really have any plans, so I'm just going to probably lounge around at home. Might do a live stream if I feel like it. So, that's it for this episode of Joe Winko Talk. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr, and also to get me stuff from my Amazon wish list if you want to. Just throwing that out there if you guys want to give me a gift for my birthday, so yeah, just an Amazon card would be fine. You don't have to get me anything. $5, anything, I'll appreciate it. And I'll also give you a shout out on my next episode of Joe Winko Talk. Just like my really awesome, cool friend who I still have no idea got these for me. Got me some Converse shoes for my Amazon wish list. I really appreciate that. These shoes are really awesome. In mint condition also. So, yeah. So don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. So that's it. Peace out, people.